Hi, I'm Avaris RK, and this is CANIDAE, a submission to Spooktober annual visual novel jam, and I basically just saw the art. Like, this part alone reminds me of that cute little meme, there are two wolves inside you, and both of them are... Well, you get the idea. Some features, there's like 2 endings, some warnings that I will not read, the credits. Lots of really cool people involved in this, obviously, and we're just gonna take a look. Run Nightmare. Nice. Cool loading screen, too. Nice. Digging the music. Oh, content warnings. Whoops. Start load options. Cool. I try to flick the lighter again, getting more and more desperate now. I can feel their eyes on me as I fail again to light the fuse, my hands starting to shake. Picturing the scowl on Red's face, I flick it harder and lit. Are we setting off a bomb? I quickly hold it against the fuse as it snakes up to the length faster than I was expecting. Remembering the fear of the... Yeah. Quick, run! It'll explode! Remembering my fear of the explosion, I scramble to my feet and run towards them. Because of course there's this cute little bat thing, like you're gonna hit a home run. Clambering noisily to the bushes, I can see Blue perched on a rock and Red leaning against a tree. What color am I? Do I get a color? I don't have time to apologize as I hear the crackling start behind me. Plumes of smoke erupt out of the rocket, and the noises get louder and louder and louder until a few sparks sprinkle the ground, but the rocket doesn't even fire. It's a dud. I start to feel her eyes on me again. Red sighs dramatically. Man, seriously? I slowly turn around to face him, my chest constricting as I realize how much I've messed it up. You swore up and down to me that this would be the best way to start the night. You made us watch this instead of going over to Liam's. He breathes in heavily through his mask, the dark eye holes making it impossible to read his expression. I can tell he's becoming furious. He starts to fiddle with his bat. Why are you friends with these people? Are we friends? Maybe we're in like a pseudo-weird world where people have wolf heads. I don't know. Am I being extorted somehow? I guess we'll find out. Listen, man, Oh, I'm green. Okay, I do get a... Oh, it fit! I'm green! I am green. Hi, hello. Avaris is green. Listen, man, I'm so sorry. Sean told me how good these were gonna be, and I really believed him. I wanted to impress you. There's still the rest of Halloween? His posture changes as I start to grovel. Ew. Yeah, that was not good. Relaxing the white-knuckle grip on his bat. I know it still won't be good enough. You know, considering he's a wolf and he probably hasn't eaten tonight. I look over at Blue for support and he just stares back, oddly still. I'll do whatever you want for the rest of the night to make it up. I promise I won't, wimp out like Ed. Red barks out a short laugh at that, back to lazing against the tree trunk. You are mercurial. Is he a fox? Blue's a fox. Hello, Foxy. Foxy, Foxy, what's it gonna be? Blue huffs, then starts to root around in his bag, gripping something. I'm gonna make you regret that promise, Runt. Yeah, we're not friends. We're not friends. I'm just secretly waiting for the time that I can stab them in the back, clearly. There's no other reason for us to associate. Besides, you already owe me. Do I, though? Do I really? If the night's gonna improve after that, let's go. Any ideas what to subject him to, Blue? My chest starts to tighten again, knowing exactly what Blue considers a fun use of his free time. Checkers? Chess? I'm bad at both those things. I imagine there's a lot of pain in store for me if we play checkers. I used to catch him pulling the limbs off bugs when we were younger, not knowing he graduated to something stronger. Tell me I'm just waiting to kill these guys. Like, I brought a knife in my bag, along with the explosives, and I'm really just sad that the explosives were a dud because it was totally intended to fly off and, like, kill these suckers. Until I found the mice in his room? Dude. Mice? Really? Can I just borrow this bat for a second? Because I see two heads that really need to get knocked the stuffing out of them. I have been meaning to. Wait, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna make the runt get back at Sean for his stupid fireworks. A rock through his window, maybe? Oh, dude, you're carrying a baseball bat. You're clearly a vandal. You can think of something more creative, I am sure. I start to breathe again, realizing I'm not going to be subjected to whatever Blue was thinking of. My stomach sinks the second I realize what I'll be doing instead. Wait, I don't know if he deserves... You said anything to make it better, right? This is anything. Sean has deserved it ages before this. Remember when he stole Liam's bike and wouldn't admit it? A rock is getting off lightly. I don't know. I still think you should give me that bat for like 5 seconds. Just 5 seconds. I just want to look at it. I'm not gonna clock you over the head with it and knock you to the ground or anything. Totally not. I would never have the nerve. Just give me... Just let me see your bat. Just let me hold it for a little bit. Promise. I'll give it back. Maybe. I have a bat right here. Why can't I use it? Red starts to saunter in the direction of Sean's house, and I scramble up behind him. Feeling a prickling in my neck, I turn around and spot Blue stood still behind us. He's staring up at the moon, heavy in the sky. I look a little closer, but then he seems to snap out of it and turn towards me. I scratch the skin under my thick mask, trying to focus on him. Am I a badger? Do I get a badger mask? I don't know. We've got a fox and a wolf. Am I a Wolverine? I'm okay with that. Can I be a bear? Maybe a tiger. Lion? A funny feeling starts to form in the back of my mind, like we're somehow making eye contact underneath our masks, even though I can't make out his face. Hurry up! Jeez, you two are scared of the dark or something? Blue looks back at the road, straightening up and beginning to amble toward us. I realize how long I've been frozen watching him and scurry back in Red's direction. Red snickers at his own joke loudly, and I try to relax again. It feels like we've walked for ages by the time we arrive on Sean's street. Probably more like 10 minutes. The dread in the pit of my stomach has only strengthened over the walk. Every trick-or-treater we walk by makes me feel worse. A family passes me, and I suddenly realize how public this is going to be. On a day where everyone is outside, the dread solidifies further. In contrast, Red whistles cheerily next to me, the shaggy wolf's head he's wearing muffling it into an ominous tune. Blue stalks behind us, breathing heavily. It sounds somehow like he's finished running a marathon. Red jauntily raises his bat up to the house, like some kind of circus ringleader. Well, here we are. Looks empty, so try not to poop yourself. He turns around suddenly, surveying the nearby houses. Spotting something he likes, he wanders over to a crumbling brick wall across the street. He kicks harshly at it, old brick showering across the path. Reaching down, he dislodges a large chunk. Here you are, runt. With that big a target, you shouldn't be able to miss. Yeah, alright. I mean, your head is a pretty big target, so, obviously I won't miss. This'll go perfectly. Well, can one of you guys watch out for trick-or-treaters? You sure there's nobody here? You scared of kids, man? Jeez, just throw the frickin' thing. Get his bedroom window, if you can manage it. I want him to know. I don't know about this. Why don't we just... You said you would do anything, and you will, or tonight's gonna get much worse. Do I even have the option to turn this into a bloodbath and just, like, bludgeon these two? I feel like they deserve it. I feel like they've had a long time coming, and Green needs a better spine. Don't worry, I can provide. Yeah, but if you have to ruin it, I'll make you regret it. He's stalking towards me, waving his bat madly. I feel like I'm speaking to an alien. He's a jerk, sure, but now he's more like a man possessed. I step back, feeling myself start to hyperventilate. A large shape appears next to his bat, gripping it firmly enough that his waving stops instantly. I realize it's Blue, as Red lets out a snarl in surprise. Get the F off me, man! He tries to whirl on him, but... An inhuman roar rips through the night atmosphere. Are we gonna get chased by, like, actual dogs? Red nearly drops the brick clutched in his other hand. I realized that it had come from Blue. Hey, whoa, alright. Just throw the gosh darn thing, okay? It's like he's been sedated. Blue releases the bat, and Red's arm flops lazily down to his side. Blue looks at me and nods. I don't know, I think you both bad news. Okay, I'm doing it. I'll throw. At their heads, right? They're both right there together. You can probably get a 2 for 1. There's a rush of bile in my throat as I look away, incapable of processing whatever I had just seen. We have a completely spineless main character. Okay, fine, whatever. Unthinking, I raise the brick, breathe in, and throw. The glass shatters, pouring into the bedroom. Nice change with the background. Abruptly, I realize I can breathe again and take deep gulps of the night air. Red jumps up, hooting enthusiastically at the destruction. Click. Shoot. Let's go. I take off sprinting down the road, footsteps pounding behind me. Yeah... You really shouldn't. No, there was someone in there. You could have hit and seriously hurt someone. You can kill someone that way, and if anyone deserves it, I swear, it's gonna be these two. But whatever. What do I know? I take off sprinting down the road, footsteps pounding behind me. Yeah, okay. Coward again. Bwahaha. My lungs start to burn, but I keep pushing until the world around me starts to get blurrier. I can feel my heart beating out of my chest, deafening me. Finally, I stumble up against a house and stop to rest. But somehow we did not lose these jokers. Okay, this is just gonna be painful. Or like a lesson in something. Maybe we all get attacked by monsters? I don't know. Gosh. What's so funny, man? Jeez, I can't believe he was there. Gosh, that makes up for the fireworks. But what if... Yeah, what if you hit someone, Green? I'm no longer associated with you. You're just a spineless little worm. Slug. Not even. That's insulting to invertebrates at this point. We're wearing masks. Relax. Oh, like I wouldn't know it's you. Red's attempted comfort does not make me feel better. You know, on account of him being a complete and utter jerk. I'm thinking the wolf is probably also a metaphorical comment on their personality. Because Blue is more... If we're going just with, like, animal metaphors, Wolf seems like the type to charge in ahead and just sort of be violent and terrible, where Fox is just as violent as terrible, but it's going to be a little bit hidden beneath like, using the rest of us as human meat shields or something. There's just a little bit more subterfuge involved with Blue being a complete and utter evil piece, you know? I feel like the world is closing in on me. You did that to yourself, Green. Can you imagine the look on his face? Probably woke him up from a frickin' nap. Jeez. That or he was wanking in the dark. You piece of fecal turd. That sets him off into a further peals of laughter, clutching his chest. Yeah, real specimen of humanity right here. Can we put a brick at his head, please? Slowly, the world around me starts to right itself again. That's a new best from you. Oh, hello, foxy little piece of... Blue is looking down at me, his whole body curled up against the wall, but somehow still towering over. Hey, yeah, that definitely beats stealing a pint from the pub. Red punches me in the shoulder, and I start to laugh with him, admittedly pretty amused by the idea of Sean's reaction. Gosh. My turn to be compensated for the fireworks? Oh, are you kidding me? I peer up at Blue, suddenly remembering what had just happened between him and Red, and what I had promised. My heart drops. Dude, just cut ties with it. These losers are not your friends. And they're just gonna keep doing this stuff. And you're just gonna keep feeling bad about it. So just don't. Cut them off. You're better off alone than with these jerks. Why not? Let's see if we can really make him braver, right? It feels like Red doesn't even remember what had only just transpired between them. Back to working together to torment me. Yeah, they're not your friends. They're not even friends with each other. And the reason Red is following after Blue is probably the fact that Blue is the even bigger bully. And you need to get away from them. They're bad news. PSA, if you recognize any of the characters featured in this game, get help immediately. Seek an adult or someone that you trust, a counselor. There has to be resources for kids in this situation because this is just regrettable. And kind of disgusting. Not even borderline. This is dangerous. Maybe we can do something more Halloween-y now, right? Oh, like what? You think these two are gonna go bobbing for apples with you, Green? I have something in mind. I take a deep breath, suddenly regretting it as I notice a putrid smell wafting on the breeze. I recoil slightly, then try to conceal my reaction as I realize the scent is coming from Blue. He's not the kind of person who normally smells, well, good, but this is a lot even for him. Oh, he picked something up. Lovely, lovely. I really should have read the warnings on this. He reaches into his bag and pulls out a small shoebox, discolored and torn. The smell gets considerably worse as he holds it out towards me. It smells sweet, in the most sickeningly possible sense. I resist the urge to gag as I picture whatever could be inside. Red reaches over, trying to grab the box from his hands, but Blue quickly moves it from his reach. Dude, what the frick is in there? It smells worse than when my cousin left a plate of rotting eggs in my room. You have a terrible cousin, but I'm starting to see where you become so terrible. You can't open it. It's not for you. Man, tell me there's not anything effed up in there. Red shifts onto his back foot before turning away slightly. Actually, I think you'll appreciate this when you know the recipient. Red inclines his head back in Blue's direction, encouraging him to keep speaking. I made it for Jack. A new character. I don't know who that is, but I'm sure they don't deserve whatever it is you goons are cooking up. Red stops shifting around and suddenly goes completely still. I can't believe this is being brought up. Whatever happened with Jack happened long before I was involved, but I've gotten the sense it was pretty serious. He used to be a good friend of Red's and was dating Red's sister, but from what I know, the relationship got pretty effed up. I've also got the sense that he was a terrifying guy. Gosh, seriously? We're having revenge tonight, and he deserves it. You know it. All we have to do is get Green to leave this for him. I remember my place in all this and snap back into reality. I really don't want to be involved in one of Blue's schemes. The way he's acting makes me feel like I'm going to be starring in some crime documentary a year from now. And that's probably the case. That's why people like this are dangerous and you should keep your distance. You're better off alone, and don't worry, there are other people out there who will be better friends, but this ain't it, fam. This ain't it. Red clearly notices he's lost control of the night, and I can see him trying to rally himself in my peripheral vision. Well, I won't say no to that. He deserves it. It'll make this one less useless for sure. He slaps me on the shoulder, but his enthusiasm rings completely hollow. Dude, if even he doesn't want to do it, then... yeah. I told you, Blue is like this weird leader, and really just as bad news. We're about to do something supremely dumb, no matter what the music's trying to say. It's not hard to see his heart isn't in it. Still, it's much harder to get out of this now he's approved. Listen, I get what you're doing, but I don't think I can do this without knowing what's in that box. I look over at Red for support, but he doesn't seem to be paying me any attention, scuffing his boot against the pavement. Not until you put it there. Come on, why not? No. You can see it if you do it. I hold his gaze for a very tense couple of seconds. It doesn't take a genius to figure out what is probably in that box. Well, considering what we know about mice and the rest of it, for all we know, he, decapitated the guy's dog or something and stuck the head in there. I mean, I'm already picturing the scene from The Godfather, only at this guy's level. Because I'm pretty sure Jack, whoever he is, probably doesn't own a horse. But if he did, its head would be in the box, for sure. His experiments flash in my mind, and I can feel myself becoming even more aware of the smell. Rotting meat. Makes sense. Inclining my head up at him, I swear I can see the snout on his mask curling up into a snarl. Jumping, I push myself backwards against the wall and look again, but his mask is completely the same as it was before. Slowly, he pushes the cardboard box into my hands. No reaction at all to me nearly jumping out of my skin. He swivels on his foot and starts striding off down the street, Red reproachfully following behind. He's hunched over more, boots dragging loudly as he walks. You could get the impression he had just woken up if it wasn't for his bat. Even in the darkness, I could see him gripping it tightly, the veins on his arms prominent from the force. Eventually, I start to trail behind, actively trying not to look at the box in my hands. It dawns on me that Blue prepared whatever I'm holding long before our plans got derailed, which means he was going to do something effed up to this guy anyway. Revenge is clearly not a motive for him. Thinking about that just makes me feel sicker, so I try to focus on the Halloween decorations. Jack's house turns out to be pretty close, Blue having led us there. Luckily, it's getting pretty late now, and there seem to be less families about. I trudge along with the group before Red suddenly swings his bat out to his side, blocking me from walking. What? Don't get any closer. His lights are on. His earlier cheery demeanor is completely gone as he scans the house. Yeah, I'm thinking these guys are bad news, but it also sounds like this Jack guy is also really bad news. And they're roping in an uninvolved party. This ain't gonna end well. And you're just gonna probably put targets on your backs. I wouldn't put it past these two, Red and Blue, to just throw the main character under the bus, like, super easy. Like, that wouldn't even inconvenience them in the slightest. Main character, please just grow a couple brain cells and just a couple vertebra or two would be really nice to get you out of there. There's an alley around the back that leads straight to his garden. Just turn right and hop over the second fence. That's his. I really do not like how quickly this is escalating. I should have dealt with this guy a long time ago. Red's mood shift is also not helping, as I imagine if he lingers here much longer, he might actually get to use his bat. I mean, I've wanted to use his bat since the beginning. For strictly, baseball purposes. Yes, that's all I wanted to do. I realize I just need to get this over with, but I just can't. Guys, this is crazy, yeah? Stop being a little weasel, alright? Aren't you supposed to be a coyote tonight? Oh, am I wearing a coyote mask? Oh no. We know where that puts the pecking order. Everyone hates coyotes. Wolves will go after them. Foxes sure as heck don't respect them. Oh, I mean, it totally fits their dynamic, but, why would you willingly? Oh, man. I had forgotten how quick he had been to fly off the handle earlier, but watching him turn on me so fast, I realized how much more unstable he seems. Yeah, these guys aren't your friends. They are unstable, they are violent, they are terrible, and you should not be anywhere near them. I can't even bear to look at Blue, knowing he orchestrated this beforehand. Alright. First turn on the right, yeah? Blue just nods affirmatively. I don't want to know why he knows this. Stumbling into the alley, I realize the stench of the box is only getting worse. Quietin? I'm just gonna read it as quiet. I gag a little, but try to quiet myself as I get closer. Shuddering, I realize I could just leave it in the alley, or find some bin for it. There's no reason to get arrested doing Blue's weird stuff when he'll never know otherwise. Agreed. Just have like a hint of a vertebra and just put it in the trash, it's fine. As I look into the alley, my eyes are drawn upwards to the sky. A horrible shiver goes up my spine as I look at the moon, surprisingly large among the stars. The feeling that something is deeply wrong fills my chest, but the moonlight is relaxing. My legs start to move of their own accord, and I realize I'm going to fulfill Blue's task anyway. Wrong call, but okay. The fence stretches up before me, and I reach up to grasp the top, hauling myself ungracefully up and over. I land with more of a thump than I would have liked in his garden, urgently trying to assess my surroundings. It's a pretty disgusting garden. Patches of grass wilting and piles of rotting wood furniture laying in corners. Nearer to the door lies a large wire cage among various clothes that have clearly fallen off the washing line and been left in the dirt. Hearing movement on the other side of the fence, I remember the situation I'm in. I scramble up to the back door and quickly lay the box down, pausing as I grip the lid. Oh, it's like the whole dead dog. It was a shoebox, so I figured it was... It's probably a puppy. Gosh darn. Should I censor this? I'm probably just gonna go ahead and censor this, but what we're actually looking at here, yeah. Blue went and, like, killed a dog or something, and it's just in the box. And fortunately, it's got that same pixelated look the rest of the art and backgrounds have had, but that is so upsetting. That is just really upsetting. Wait, the text says it's a rabbit. A rabbit? Okay, well, at least he didn't, like, capture a family pet. Still, that's not good. Dog, cat, rabbit. That's not good. Big steamy pile of not good. It's clearly been skinned and left to sit in this box for who knows how long. Congealed blood coating the inside. A wave of nausea hits me faster than I can process it, and I pry off my mask before vomiting into the grass. I feel dizzy as I look up again, trying to contain my retching. Frick. I try not to think about the implications of what I'm looking at, and turn away from it, back towards the fence. I grasp it again, hop, and nearly fall flat onto the ground on the other side. Breathing deeply, I wipe up my eyes into the mask and try to pick myself back up. I lean heavily against a wall for a second, my legs not willing to cooperate. I'm not in the garden anymore, but I'm still too close by, so I hasten to my feet and drag myself into the street. I avert my gaze as I approach them. I can't bear it. Right, let's go. I hear Red moving away from us, and I try to shadow him, bringing my breathing back to a normal level. A hand grips my shoulder, and I hear mocking laughter from over it. Yeah, these guys are not your friends. Hey, it'll get a reaction. He's too close to me, and I can't even stomach a nod to the affirmative. I swallow. You gotta tell me what was in that box. Seriously. I tilt my head lopsidedly up at him, trying to focus on the words. It was my plan. I'll tell you. I did say you'd be impressed. Red stands at attention, clearly hating the suspense. I remember you mentioning he had a rabbit. Oh, he did. I knew it. That's why I thought it was going to be a dog, because most people have, like, dogs or cats. But if he had a pet rabbit, yeah, he killed his rabbit. I kind of figured it would be something like that, given the track record, so I'm 1 for 1. These guys suck. I don't like it. These guys are just really gross. Like, I don't know about horror or spooky, but you definitely get disgust coming from this. It's just a very uncomfortable place to be. He thinks it went missing 6 days ago. He'll know where it went now. The world feels like it goes out from under me as I watch Red's reaction. His shoulders tense up even further. Then they drop. Then they tense again. He looks away wildly, then looks back. His rabbit? His bat starts to move at his side, twitching as he shakes. That gosh darn rabbit! My sister loved that thing, you sick freak! What the heck is wrong with you? Oh, is that a step too far for you, Red? You're friends with this joker. He snarls, and I swear I see a flash of yellow in the eye holes of his mask. A wolf staring back at me. All at once he leaps at Blue, bat raised over his head. Oh yes, let them fight. Let them just kill each other. Green, it's time for you and me to sneak away. We can find better friends and just a better way to spend Halloween night, I promise. I throw myself out of the way as Blue grasps him midair, their bodies colliding as they both tumble to the floor. Hey, stop! No, don't get between them. Let them kill each other. Just leave and pretend you were never here. I feel like I'm watching something more animal than human. Bodies and matted fur roiling in constant motion. Red quickly lifts his bat and swings, Blue's head snapping to the side with the force. He goes limp for a second before surging back to life, kicking at him. Red raises his arms to strike at him again, but Blue roars and throws himself upwards. Rolling over, he uses his sheer size to pin Red beneath him. I should step in. No, you should be leaving. You should be leaving and pretending you were never here. I should step in, but I can't breathe. He grips Red's mask, slamming his head down into the pavement with incredible brutality. And again. And again. Holy shoot. I am helping you, you idiot. Have you done anything to him this whole time? Get your own revenge. Dude, you did this not for revenge, just because you wanted to. The light goes out of Red's eyes, the formerly primal energy seeming to dissolve instantly. They look almost comical on the ground. Two men in Halloween masks wrestling each other in the grass. I can't believe how different it seemed just a second before. Blue gets off him, wiping at the grass stains on his trousers like he's been mildly inconvenienced. I can't move. She loved that thing. Red lays there limply for a second before climbing roughly to his feet and steadying himself. I'm gonna go get a drink. I need a beer. Just stay here. He turns to me, holding my gaze for what feels like an eternity. He starts to limp away from us, but speeds up the further he gets until he's running full speed around the corner. I realize how he's left me. And you should have been running a long time ago. Green, there's something wrong with you, and now you're stuck alone with Blue, who is clearly frickin' psycho. These guys are both psychos, but at least one of them ran off. Alone with him. Yeah, it's not great. I turn away from Blue, trying to process everything that just happened. The moon is unnaturally large in the sky, hanging ominously over us. I stare at it, trying to imagine it as some kind of cosmic paradise I could escape to. As I gaze at it, my vision starts to fuzz at the corners. I feel as if I can see Red's bat, raised upwards as he gets ready to strike. I see Blue and his experiments, mice rotting in their cage. I feel an overwhelming pressure building in my chest, a rage filling me up and threatening to spill over. Every time Red has screamed at me, every time I've seen Blue perform some sick stunt, everything I've seen tonight. Staring at the milky surface of the moon, I see all the violence I could inflict back on them, all the pain. Yeah. Do you remember, like, less than 30 minutes ago when I was talking about how you should totally just take the bat or the brick or literally anything and just aim it back at them? Blue crunches through the grass to me, snapping me out of my thoughts. The second I look away from the moon, the cacophony inside my head grows quiet, but an incredible yearning to look back blossoms in its place. Blue is looking up at the same view. Blue. I'm not really thinking as I speak, a strange confidence coming over me. What? Let him be the crybaby for the night. I cough and stare down at the grass, the breeze starting to chill me through my costume. You can't flipping attack each other. It isn't right. Oh, Green. You sweet summer child. Nothing about these two has ever been right. I have no idea how I'm doing this. He flicks his gaze over to me, annoyance starting to show in his stance. You'll notice he was the one to attack me. Oh, that doesn't matter. You both in the wrong here. You a real piece of work, Blue. Am I supposed to not defend myself? I think you can find better outlets for all that, creativity of yours. Preferably not on humans, though. Not on humans. Don't give him ideas. There's an incredible threat in his tone now. You knew what you were doing. I've known you long enough to be sure that you knew exactly what you were doing with Red and that poor effing rabbit. Hey, Green, are you gonna snap and murder Blue? I would totally be okay with this ending, by the way. His head really flicks to me this time, and before I know it, he slammed me back against a fence. Yeah, he's gonna violently lash out just because you said a thing. And it wasn't even that bad. Yep, he's literally just said you knew what you were doing and I've known you long enough, so, yeah. I choke out as he pins me against it, one hand on my neck and the other gripping my left arm. You are a coward. Grow up. I will grow up as soon as I take your head off your shoulders. He squeezes harder. I pinwheel my legs around in an attempt to kick at him, but he's too strong. I did it because he deserves it. You think I care about, what, our personal bond? I scratch at his hold with my other arm, cringing away from his rancid breath. I wanted a reaction out of him, and I got it. Oh, were you doing that specifically to get a reaction out of Red? Dude. I know you're not friends, but holy crud. You get so upset over what happens to a bunch of animals, but don't you realize... We're all animals. He slams me back into the fence again. Yeah, more or less. You're both mice in the cage. You're just the more pathetic one. Sliding scale of what's pathetic or not. It's all a matter of perspective. I think you're pretty darn pathetic. One of my kicks finally connects a little harder, his knee buckling under him. I try to dive away, but he's still latched onto my arm, and he pulls himself down on top of me, snarling. Green, by any chance, do you have a knife with you? What are you doing hanging out with these two if you do not have a knife on you at all times? I cringe from the punch, my head snapping against concrete. Look at me! Look at me!
Look at me.
Look at me!
He grasps the snout of my mask and pulls it around, facing directly towards him. My head throbs from his attacks, but as my eyes focus in, I see that he's not human anymore. His mask has come alive, the formerly dark eye holes illuminated by a piercing yellow gaze. He snarls louder, his canine shining in the light of a street lamp. I can feel claws digging into the flesh of both my arms. Ooh, nice sound effect. It's almost like he's trying to speak to me, a twisted growl fighting its way out instead. Suddenly, I see the moon over his shoulder, my vision sharpening down to a point. I twist and kick, sending him toppling over my side. I clamber to my feet and kick at his torso, only vaguely hearing the sound of my own snarling as I strike again and again. Stepping back, I feel a deep wrongness within myself. His crumpled form lays beneath me, chest heaving as he takes in deep gulps of breath. The moonlight shines on him now, even larger on the horizon. I realize I want to kill him. I've wanted to do that since forever. I know, there's probably an ending associated with fight back, but there's a whole lot of embrace it. I don't want to fight it. I think you should, This is probably the bad end, because it also probably means that I'll turn into a monster. Okay, as much as this would be the fun ending, fine, I guess we should fight it, because, you know, he should go to animal control and get put down like the mangy dog he is. That's a much better ending. I resist the boiling anger rising within me, reaching up and grasping my mask. I feel hot and claustrophobic, wanting out of this stupid costume as quickly as possible. Well, to be fair, it's also a mask that they gave you. It is a skin that they gave you to wear that is as derogatory as everything else that they used you for. So you know what? Rip it off! A hissing noise fills my head, growing louder as I dig my fingers into the greasy fabric. It grows in volume and I can feel my legs starting to shake. I pull and fresh air pours in. The glow of the moon no longer seems inviting, but revolting. I look down at Blue's damaged form and it feels as if a miasma is surrounding him. The air is charged as I approach him. Whatever was influencing me clearly having seeped deep into his body. His heavy breathing sounds more like growling, and I see his chest rising and falling rapidly. I don't know whether to run, or wait, or try to help him. I've seen him be effing cruel, but I've never imagined he would attack one of us. Really? It seems like you guys would turn on each other at the drop of a hat all the time, and you wouldn't be so scared of them if you didn't know that they would turn on you at any moment. So you know what? You know he'd attack you. As I crouch there, he starts to change. A twitch starts in Blue's leg, looking almost like a dog trying to scratch itself. Suddenly, a sickening crunch rings out. Grrr. I fall back and scrape my hands across the tarmac as he starts wildly twisting around. The screaming coming from him is like nothing I've ever heard, and there are horrible deep crunches emanating with it. Is he like a werewolf? That would suck, honestly. As he kicks his legs out, his boots come flying off, revealing a clawed foot. He's a werewolf. No, that means we're gonna die. We should have just killed him. A deep sickness forms in my gut and I crawl over, trying to pin the lower half of his body. No, you should be running, Green. You should be running. I'm not sure what I'm even trying to achieve, but the horror in my stomach spurs me on. He catches me with a claw as I fail again to grasp him at the knee, his form smaller than I expected. Something crunches again, louder this time. If I couldn't hear his body, I would think he was having a seizure. This is clearly much worse than that. I finally pin his lower body, something in his torso shuddering as I do. I look up to see him clawing at his mask, inhuman hands tearing into himself. All at once it hits me. The mask! He keeps thrashing, no indication that he can hear at all. I realize I need to get it off him, and fast, before his body deforms further. I'm not sure we should help him. Although I guess if he does become a werewolf, he'd go on to kill us and a whole lot of other people. I mean, he's gonna do that as a human, too. I reach over trying to grasp at his head, but he twists it back and forth ceaselessly. I gasp as his fist connects with my abdomen, feeling winded as I try not to fall off him. As something snaps beneath me, I surge upwards, hands reaching wildly. Reaching and... Got it! I grasp the snout of the mask and pull up, twisting. There's more resistance than I expected, and he bucks me off with another kick. Still, I keep my hold on it and pull harder. The fabric emanates warmth, and I try not to think of the implications as I rip and hear a tear. Tell me we actually pulled his head off. That would be hilarious. I fly back as the mask finally comes away, landing roughly on my back. Breathing sharply, I collapse back against the road. Holy crud. Once the hammering has resided in my chest a little, I slide unsteadily back to my feet. I can finally see his face, blood-soaked but intact. His eyes have rolled back in his head, and his breathing is faint, but I can no longer hear his body shifting and breaking. It dawns on me the kind of changes his body has already gone through. I don't know even a little bit what this could mean for him. There's a ringing in my head as it starts to set in. I mean, he attacked me, but I can't imagine him deserving that. He just changed. I look back up at the moon, but it makes the ringing louder, so I quickly avert my gaze. Jeez. The world feels like it's tilted on its axis, and I look down at my own hands, then the mask. Have I changed as well? Well, your hands look normal in the last image. Could that have happened to me if I hadn't taken my own mask off? That thought makes the sickness in my stomach nearly bubble over, and I take a deep breath of the night air. Should I call someone? What would I even say? My head is really spinning now, and I resist the urge to sit down. Ooh. The sound is distant, but I feel as if I've been hollowed out. So this is probably Red coming back to, heal us, because I don't think he had the same benefit of having the mask removed before he potentially turned. The symbolism isn't lost, where it's like, these guys are all animals, but anyway. Unless there's, like, magical supernatural lore going on. Could be. I don't know. The rumble seeps into my bones as I look around for the source. Yep, Red's a wolf. In the corner of my eye, I see it. Piercing yellow eyes stare back at me from the darkness. Horrible recognition swamps me. I know at once that this creature is Red. Nice sounds. His lips curl as the snarl grows in volume, slowly stepping towards me from the shadows. As light is cast on him, I see the unmistakable tint of dark blood around his jaws. And he's already eaten someone. Lovely. He moves with a predator's grace towards me. I flick my eyes down to Blue, realizing I can't leave him like this. Can we though? Can we please just leave him? It's not like he's not getting what he deserves. I flick my eyes down to Blue, realizing I can't leave him like this. As I look back up, the wolf is even closer to me, moving silently across the road. I know I have to act, and I have no idea what to do. There's no way I can carry Blue anywhere, but he can't get himself away. I look back up at it. The muscles in its hulking form shift elegantly under the matted fur, its huge size becoming clearer every second. I realize there's nothing I can do for Blue. Turning, I run. Well, at least there's that. Poor Blue! It couldn't have happened to a nicer person. Oh well! My heart thumps against my ribcage, resisting clattering to the floor as I sprint away. I slam my foot back into my shoe as it nearly falls off. I don't hear anything behind me, panting filling my ears. Spots begin to appear in my eyes, so I'm forced to stop and lean against a building. I breathe heavily, memories of running away after throwing the rock flooding back to me. You threw a brick, but that's okay. It feels like years ago, even though it can only have been an hour. The moon hangs heavily overhead, its sickly glow calling out to me again. I can hear a horrible rending of flesh as it shines on me, shredded by sharp canines. I pound my fist against a wall until I can no longer hear it and sink down. I must be losing my mind. Deliriously, I close my eyes and see that blood-soaked maw. I think of Jack, and an epiphany comes to me. I don't know why, but I feel in my core that it was his blood. Shakily, I rise to my feet, an unknown sense of purpose beginning to fill me. Red must have killed him. I know it. I don't feel tethered to reality anymore, but I know what has done this. Red must have gone back for his revenge. I already know I've left Blue to die. If I had just not done his sick prank, or not effed up the night in the first place, you did nothing. I mean, you did a lot of things wrong, mind you, but the fireworks and the whole, you ruined the night for us, that was not it. Maybe none of this would have happened. I can't let people keep dying. I realize I'm going to need to kill that creature. I'm going to need to kill Red. Well, the good news is it's a wolf, which means no one's gonna blame you. Just get a regular shotgun, it'll be fine. My legs start to move without me, and I let them lead. I feel myself coming in and out of reality as I stumble around, Halloween decorations flickering in the dark. I need to find him again, and I'm concerned about what I'm going to see when I reach him. I hold in a retch as images of Blue flash in my memory. Unlike Red, I'm not used to getting into fights. I draw a small pocket knife out of my trouser pocket. You had a knife this whole time! Okay. I mean, I'm glad. I kind of thought you might. I'm just a little surprised you didn't use it before now. I draw a small pocket knife out of my trouser pocket, warm from the proximity. Realistically, the blade is tiny. That's all you need sometimes. I got it as a gift, and only really carry it out of habit and convenience. I try not to think about how I'm actually going to use it as I flip out the blade and clutch the handle. Slowly, I stagger back into the street with Blue. Green. I'm so proud of you for growing a single vertebra, but, can you grow a second brain cell to rub together and realize that a, shotgun might do you one better than a teeny tiny pocket knife against a wolf? Don't get me wrong, a pocket knife can do a lot of damage against a person, which is why it's like when Red and Blue were still being, you know, themselves or whatever, nice human form, you technically had more of a shot. A wolf has a lot more, like, flesh and sinew and fur and hide that can get in the way of you stabbing somewhere vital. At least get yourself a Bowie knife. Go to the local pawn shop and upgrade to a Bowie knife. Those things are, like, almost a foot long. This is a suicide mission. Slowly, I stagger back into the street with Blue. I quickly avert my eyes as a large, bloodied form catches my attention. I know exactly who it belongs to. I hold in a retch as I half walk, half run past it, seeing no sign of the wolf around. I start breathing again as I enter the alley nearby, almost pitch black in the darkness. Eventually, I realize I've nearly worked my way back to the field where our night began, and quicken my pace towards it. My shoes crunch in the dewy grass, and I briefly hope I don't step in any dog poop. The thought seems ridiculous considering the circumstances, and I let out a slightly unhinged laugh. The bushes rustle to my side, and I look over. I see the yellow of his eyes first. The predatory form stalks outwards from the tree line, canines glinting. I realize how hard I'm shaking as I see it drop some kind of fleshy mass from its jaws. Ah! A childish scream rings out, and I twist to see a kid in a ghost costume, turning and running down the street. Sweets fly from their plastic pumpkin basket as they sprint out of view. Shoot. I turn back around, seeing the wolf now significantly closer, maybe 3 meters away. I'm thankful it didn't chase after the kid. In a weird way, it seems to have jolted me out of my paralysis. I sprint forwards. I cannot reiterate how much of a bad plan this is. A snarl rips out, the large beast charging forward as well. Its large face collides with my arm as I twist out of the way at the last second. The wolf slams me back, and I quickly refocus on the knife in my left hand. It turns to me again as I plant the blade into its shoulder, warm blood coating my fist. It yelps but keeps pushing forward. I try to hold it back with one hand, my fingers releasing the knife. Shoot! I realize how futile this is, and try to throw it back, feeling a claw piercing somewhere around my belly button. I scream. Teeth clamp over my hand, and I scream once more. In a fit of adrenaline, I wrap my hands around its thick neck and use all the strength I can summon. I slam its head down into the ground, feeling it go limp for just a second and release my bloodied fist. Terror consumes me and I jump to my feet, the world hazy. I start to limp away, quickening into a sprint as I hear pounding behind me. The pain in my hand darts up my whole torso, feeling like an electric shock. As I reach the street, I realize I've got no idea what I'm doing. No possibility of outrunning this creature. I mean, it was a terrible plan to begin with. Your weapon was piddly. The knife didn't seem to slow it down even a little. Terror grows in my chest, but a bin to my left gives me an idea. Hearing the wolf right behind me, I reach out and grab. I stumble slightly as I pull down, but the bin clatters loudly to the floor behind me. The wolf slams into it, garbage spilling into the street. I take advantage of the brief distraction and turn sharply into another road. I have absolutely no direction, but something catches my attention. Strips of fabric lie in a heap, along with... wait. A large, dented bat sits amongst it. No way. I have no time to consider what led me here as I reach down and grip the bat. Finally, I get the bat! It's mine! It's mine now. There is no more red. You cannot take this from my cold, dead fingers. I reach down and grip the bat, hearing snarling behind me. I swing, feeling metal collide with flesh. Another yelping snarl rings out, and I see the furred body hit the floor. It recovers fast, though, clawing back towards me. It moves faster than I expect, and the bat glances off as its teeth dig into my arm. Cook. I splutter and scream, but it digs in further. I fall back and hear something tear, those teeth finally leaving my arm. Everything starts to fade, but I urge myself back to reality as it surges towards my face. It moves in slow motion as I feel myself swinging the bat up towards it. It gets closer and closer, and I hit first as it falls down, limp body flopping on top of me. I struggle to push it off, finally sliding my legs out from underneath it. As I stand up, I swing again. It twitches and brings up a paw to stand. I decide to hit it again to be sure. And again. Everything goes still as I hit it again, seeing the color truly leave its eyes this time. My head spins as I realize it might all actually be over. And I'm reasonably sure that this is actually a picture of, like, the dog husky thing, like, sleeping, or maybe, like, mid-run or something. But since it's supposed to be dead, I'm gonna go ahead and, like, try to blur that. My head spins as I realize it might all actually be over. I feel like I've slipped into a different world without my knowing. I look over at it, its chest no longer raising and lowering as it breathes. I remember exactly what this "it" is. I laugh a little, feel sick, and throw up onto the street beside me. I sit down hard, feeling weakness throughout my whole body. Resting my head against the road, I watch the stars. I think of going back home, but I can't find the strength to move. A feeling of madness descends on me, and I realize something is truly broken. I clamber up to my feet, clutching the bat limply in my hand. I ignore the feeling of warmth gushing over my arm. As I begin to walk away, I hear police sirens in the distance. Ending 2, Fight Back. Wow, that was neat. And I was kind of right with the whole werewolf thing. He turned into an actual wolf. I wonder if the other guy would have, like, turned into an actual fox and a coyote or something if we decided to give in to it. Yeah, this was fun. I mean, after a fashion. I think the whole point is that the characters were terrible, which is why it's like the metaphorical to literal. They're all just animals. They're just vicious frickin' animals to each other and everyone else. And then that just became kind of the literal ending. I wasn't sure to start out just because I was, like, not sure where they were going. Color me surprised. It's not like I read the summary. My goodness, probably should have done that along with the warnings. But it was still an interesting experience even going in blind, kind of like that. That was nice. It had a lot more satisfactory ending than I was expecting based on how the night was kind of going. I did know at some point it was going to probably boil over into a violent escapade of some sort. I just wasn't sure if that was going to come from Jack coming after them, or if it was going to be, like, infighting among, like, blue and red, which I was kind of right about. Which is kind of what happened, but at the same time, it was really more focused on that whole supernatural angle of, and then they were literal animals. I am vaguely curious about ending 1, though, so... You only get the one choice here. An incredible warmth fills me as I stare down at him. The breeze rushes around my ears, the sound of the grass rustling filling the soundscape. I can hear mice scampering through the dirt, and feel an urge to rush towards them, but Blue's wheezing reminds me of what I'm doing. I turn to him tense as I watch him twitch. Something crunches, hard. He brings his legs up to stand, but his leg spasms and his boot falls away, revealing a clawed foot. He groans as his bones shift out of place, his arms snapping and reshaping before my eyes. I take the opportunity given to me and pounce. Okay, so this could just be the we're all literal animals ending. Although I'm thinking the more this goes on, it seems like the main character is trying to cause harm, but it's not really working. The only other thing I can think of is that they become animals, but because he did adopt the mantle of coyote, he ends up being prey for the other two because they're just bigger predators. I guess we'll find out. And it makes sense that this would be ending 1 because, again, this is the knee-jerk reaction of, I want these suckers gone. He lets out a half-formed snarl as I try to bite at his neck, only vaguely aware that my mask is in the way. My body has started to feel incredibly distant, and I switch to raking down his torso with my nails. A horrible squeal emits from his throat, which switches to a choked snarling as his body continues to fight against him. I can feel him reshaping underneath me, his large torso creaking and shuddering. Slamming my knee down into him, I feel a sickening snap as his chest caves in. His yellow eyes stare up at me, and for a second I wonder what I'm doing. I feel a horrible shifting in my leg, and then I feel my knee joint disconnect. Frick. The fox kicks out underneath me, his clothes now engulfing him. I try to keep my hold on the squirming mass beneath me, but my vision blurs as my hips shift and crunch. I fall backwards, my head striking the pavement. The pain engulfs me as I lay there, spasming as I try to resist the changes. Another wave hits as I try to scramble to my feet, my trousers tangled around my feet. The pain now radiates through my arms, each of my fingers cracking as they reform into tiny stumps. As the feeling fades for a brief second, the fox lands on top of me. Teeth sink into my neck and I try to scream. Yeah, kinda figured. I try to swat at the furred form above me, my half-formed legs useless as the pain swamps me. The teeth dig in further, twisting as I feel something tear. Warmth gushes down my neck and I desperately summon all my strength to throw the fox off, hearing it smack the tarmac next to me. It squeals and squirms. I turn over, attempting to use my right arm to clutch at the deep gash. My shoulder feels fused in place, and I realize my arm can no longer reach up to my neck. I thud down limply as my strength leaves me. I hear claws scrabbling next to me, knowing I can't fight back. I uselessly curl in on myself to try to use my malformed body to defend my head. Struggling to breathe, the overwhelming urge to rip at my throat engulfs me. I feel my flesh give way to teeth and claws, pinpricks of fire erupting across my body. My throat is raw from screaming. Nausea fills my chest as I realize my head is reshaping, my jaw lengthening and snapping into place. My gums burn as large canines pierce their surface. A deep itch covers my whole body. I nearly choke on my own tongue as I try to shut my mouth, my mask wearing completely suffocating. I can barely register the creature above me, the world starting to go dark as everything swamps me. Yeah, I kinda figured. I awake with a start, raking my claws against the fox. Oh, okay, it's still going. It's smaller than I am, blood soaked into its matted fur. My whole body screams, but the adrenaline within me is overpowering. I lunge at the it. The squealing only drives me on. I swipe at its face, clawing lines from its ear down to its eye. It stumbles back from me and I push, biting down against its pathetic form. Blood hums underneath warm fur, and I go in for the kill. One last horrifying squeal rises from its throat, but it goes limp in my jaws. Okay, and I'm probably gonna have to censor that too, but hey, we managed to kill Fox Blue. The blue fox. The fox that was blue. Rest in peace, ye horrible, horrible person. I pull back, faint recognition stirring in my mind. The longer I look at it, the more confused I feel. This isn't where I should be, and I don't remember why I'm here. Swiveling my ears, I refocus on my environment. And you better run before the red wolf shows up, please. The sky is getting lighter on the horizon, and I grow concerned about getting back home. I don't know what that is. Everything feels increasingly fractured, a sense of tragedy blossoming in my chest. I trot in a small circle, recognition beginning to flicker but fading away faster than I can understand it. Oh no. Okay, so we managed to kill the blue fox, but then the red wolf shows up to kill us. Lovely. I look back down at my prey, worried somehow that it's still alive. Completely unmoving, it lays there. In the corner of my vision, I see the source of the growl. A large wolf stands in the distance, teeth bared and glinting. Tragedy turns to horror, and the horrible recognition only grows. The moonlight shines down on it, wet blood coating its snout. It stalks toward me, faster now. I have no time to think. I run. I know I can't outrun it, but everything in my body is screaming at me to try. The pounding behind me is only getting louder. Run. Run. The world smears past me in streaks of light, labyrinthian streets yawning out at me. It's getting closer. Run. I don't know where I'm going, but I feel purpose. Something in me is desperately trying to break free. It is almost upon me now. Run, 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 run. Colliding heavily with me, it sends me flying across the grass. I dodge the snarling jaws over me and scamper to the side. Teeth come down on my back leg and a sickening crunch rings out. I scream, choking on my own saliva. The slavering jaws are on me, tearing into the wound. I swipe out, feeling my claws pierce one of the wolf's eyes. Liquid runs over my paw. It retreats, stumbling over its own paws as blood spurts from its face. I clamber upwards, forgetting the extent of my injury. A deep snap and a feeling of wrongness radiates through my body, and I fall heavily back down to the floor. I can't feel my leg. I realize all at once that I'm not getting away. The wolf stalks back towards me, a deep growl rumbling in its chest. I brace myself, knowing that it rips into my neck, my mangled throat coming apart instantly. Instead of pain, numbness begins to fill my body. I try to raise a hand to stop the flow, but I have no hand to stop it. A pool of warmth blossoms beneath me, my body tingling as it does. It feels so much nicer than the chill of the wind. My head flops down on its own, and I realize I can't lift it back up. I look at the house in front of me. The night is peaceful. Recognition flickers distantly in my head. I look closer, the smell of something in the kitchen wafting out towards me. This feels... I know where I am. My claws scrabble once or twice on the grass as I try desperately to stand. This... Oh no, is that your home? Oh. Ending 1. Embrace. Interesting. Kind of what I guessed it would be, but yeah. And that was CANIDAE. Dang. Literal monster people that become monsters on Halloween. And it's not like their relationship was based on anything as simple as, like, friendship, mutual feelings of, like, affection or trust. It wasn't even anything like respect, to be honest. It was all just, like, fear-based. Red was afraid of blue, up to a point. And green was afraid of both of them. And they were all animals in the end. And then they became literal animals. There's also kind of a live by the sword, die by the sword sort of thing a little bit going on there. This was interesting. It was violent, it was grotesque. As far as a horror spooky game goes, it definitely got that feeling of disgust and just overall discomfort, like from the very start. It had that. As it went on, it got to be a little more cohesive and interesting, and the supernatural aspects honestly ended up, instead of coming out of nowhere, they kind of almost brought it together. They made the whole first part recontextualized in this interest point of, you know, and then they were animals. And in hindsight, as much as I liked the whole go ahead and embrace it ending, it does make sense that the actual good ending would be the one where you fight it, because you have to stay human if you're going to deal with animals. And not, you know, potentially just die like an animal yourself. I mean, humans are animals, but you know what I mean. Probably, right? Anyway, that was a lot more fun than I was expecting, especially since the start was just so off-putting. But this was really good. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I hope this was as entertaining for you as it was for me, and hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!